Hey, it's Kaylin, and I am doing my July TBR, and I know we are well into July already, and it is July 10th today, but I guess better late than never. I have 7 books that I've picked out, one of which I've already finished, so I am off to an okay start for July. And I will let you know what books I plan to read for the rest of the month. So, first off is the book that I already finished, and that is The Fact of a Body. This is by Alexandria Marzano Lesnevich, and this is a memoir slash true crime book about this woman who goes to law school, and she is introduced to this case of a man who is on death row for killing a child. And she has always been staunchly against the death penalty, but as she delves further into this case, she realizes basically from the start that she wants this person to die. And so she goes into the case, she researches it and learns more about it. And so right along with that, we learn more about her and her history and her story. And she has a very difficult childhood and growing up. There's abuse in this story, and her coping and moving forward and trying to reconcile a member of her family who is responsible for abuse, and then just her examining this criminal who is on death row. And so it's a very personal story. It's as much about this killer, this convicted killer, as it is about the author. And it's very sad. It's very intense. There's a lot of sad things that happen to people in this book. So be aware of that, I suppose. But it's also very, very well written and very moving. So this is The Fact of a Body, and I finished this a few days ago. The next book I am well into, actually, is Stephen King's Gwen DS Button Box. And this is a very short, I guess you could call it a horror novel, but it's also sort of a combination of a sort of a thriller, maybe, and a coming of age, actually, because it involves a young girl and kind of her, starting with age 12, she meets this man who gives her a mahogany wooden box that has a bunch of buttons and levers on it. And he tells her that it's hers to take care of. And he tells her that each of the buttons represent a different continent. And there are 2 extra buttons. And one is one that she can press as many times as she wants, and the other is a button she absolutely cannot press. So this takes her through the years and being responsible for this button box and her thoughts on it, and basically what's going to happen if she presses any of these buttons, and we find out what happens. This book has a few illustrations in it. It's co-written. It's written by Stephen King and Richard Chismar, who I've actually never heard of before, but it's pretty good so far. It reads sort of like a young adult book in a way, and it's a really fast read. I'm already maybe 2/3 of the way through it, and I'm interested to see what will happen because she's already pushed one button and there are shocking consequences. So if you want to know more about that, you'll have to pick up this book. And again, that was Gwen DS Button Box, very easily mistaken with Wendy, but it's actually Gwendy with a G in front of it. So that is my second book. And the third book I would like to get to, and this is going to be kind of a long project book. This is The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron. And this is basically kind of a workbook and a course that takes you through the creative process. I think it's a 20-week or a 22-week course that helps you get more in touch with creativity and kind of opens you up to being more creative and doing more things in the areas of just anything creative minded, whether it be writing or painting, poetry, music. I guess it's meant to, it says a spiritual path to higher creativity. And I'm not exactly sure what she means by spiritual, but this is a 21st anniversary edition copy, and it's a pretty popular book. I used to have it years ago, but I remember just starting the very beginning of it, but not getting very far. It takes a bit of a commitment. It's going to take me, if it's 20 weeks, um, a few months to get through. So, actually, no, I'm sorry. It is a 12-week course, so that's a bit different. So it'll take about maybe 3 months to get through. And so that is The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron, and she has written a lot of other books kind of similar, in a similar vein about creativity, kind of self-help, inspirational type of thing. So next book I have is one I've talked about already on my channel. It is Jaws by Peter Benchley. This is one of those books you really should probably read in the summertime, so hopefully I will get through it this month. And obviously, it's a horror novel. Most people have probably seen the film. Probably more people have seen the film than have read the book. But I've heard really great things about the book, and I love the cover, for one thing. And it's basically about a shark that starts attacking people and eating people on a Martha's Vineyard beach. I think it's Martha's Vineyard. That might be the movie, but I don't know if it's the same in the book. So anyway, I heard there are a few different things about it in the book than in the movie. I think there's different relationships that maybe are more fleshed out in this book. So I guess I will find out. But that is Jaws by Peter Benchley. And next book is also a Stephen King book that I have started already and bought while I was on a trip last month. And this is Dolores Claiborne by Stephen King. I have seen the movie a few years back. I thought it was extraordinary, and so I really thought the book would be interesting. It's more of like a psychological kind of thriller, and that's kind of what intrigues me about this book. It's not focused on gore or monsters or killer cars or anything like that, which I've read other books of his like that, which are fine, but I think it's sometimes in a way it's more interesting to get into the psychological aspect of his thrillers. And so I started this. I like the writing so far. The main character is a real kind of a sassy lady who's kind of very independent, and she's got a guard up because she's suspected of having something to do with the woman she works for. She is a caretaker for this wealthy woman, and the wealthy woman died by falling down a flight of stairs, and Dolores Claiborne is suspected of it because years back her husband died in mysterious circumstances, and the town, I guess, suspects that she had something to do with it. And so that's Dolores Claiborne, and I'm looking forward to getting into this. And yeah, that's Dolores Claiborne. And next book, I don't know if I'm going to be able to read all of these books in July. This is kind of an ambitious TBR for me, but I'm still excited to get through all of them at some point. So if I do it in July, that would be wonderful. If I don't, then maybe August, September. So we'll see. Next book I have is Mindhunter by John Douglas. This is a true crime, I guess, biography. John Douglas is kind of an elite in the field of forensics and basically starting, I think, the behavioral science unit for the FBI. I think he had a huge role in that. He interviewed a lot of serial killers, such as Ed Gein, Ted Bundy, Charles Manson, and it says a legendary figure in law enforcement pursuing some of the most notorious and sadistic serial killers of our time. And I thought it would be great to get an idea of his story and how the FBI's behavioral science or behavioral analysis unit got started. This is a bit of a chunky book, and the series Mindhunter on Netflix is based off of this book or the things that are talked about in this book. So I'm really looking forward to getting to this. I might have to get to this sooner than a few of these other books. So that is Mindhunter by John Douglas and also Mark Allshaker. And the last book is a book I've been working on for a little bit, and it's a cute little read called Unlikely Friendships, Dogs. And I am a serious dog lover. My dog has been in a few of my videos, because a lot of times he'll just be sitting up on the couch behind me. So he's like my best little buddy. I love stories about dogs. I think dogs are amazing in the way they are able to be so intuitive to people and what we need from them. And I just love all of their little habits and quirks. And it's just also amazing how some of the stories in here, the relationships between species. I mean, you have like the dogs and the birds. There's a story of a dog making friends with a monkey and a goose, and there's one about a dog and a fox. And there's very cute pictures in here that go along with it. And this book is part of a series of like a bunch of different stories about animals and the unlikely friendships they create with either humans or other animals. So that's Unlikely Friendships, Dogs. And those are the books that I have picked to hopefully get through in July. And hopefully I will get through at least half of them, but who knows. But I'm really excited to show those to you. So let me know what you're reading for July and how you are doing so far. I know we are about a week into July, a week and a half. So let me know what you're reading and have a great day, and I will see you next time. Bye.